Hello, and welcome to another episode of Anime Lounge Podcast. I'm your host, Matt, alongside with my other host, Lance. And we have a special guest today, Tyler.
Yo, yo.
Thank you for joining us. It's been a minute.
It's been a little bit. Well, it's good to be back.
Yeah, definitely. As always, we like to start off with an adult beverage of choice. Lance, what are you partaking today?
Today, I will be drinking some Hill Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, and I will be having our traditional Spotted Cow along with that. Tyler, what are you drinking today?
I am drinking a raspberry dragon fruit Happy Thursday. Enjoying it on a Friday.
We can pretend it's Thursday. No, actually, we won't.
It's Thursday everywhere, all right? We just don't got to work tomorrow.
That's true.
Yes.
What about you, Matt?
I am drinking some more of this Jipsy Explorer Whiskey. It's good. It's been a minute since I've had it, so. And then, of course, Spotted Cow. Can't get away from that.
Yeah.
Lance, do you want to give everybody a synopsis of what we're covering?
According to the title of our episode, we're covering Solo Leveling Season 2, and you know exactly what the fuck is going on in this season. I'm not going to give much of a plot. We continue diving into dungeons, and we're just getting hella stronger just before we fight a big-ass black ant.
True. All true.
Just kind of tie it up. We're here to fuck shit up.
True. And, solo level.
Yeah.
I am curious, Lance, what did you pick for the Lance's lesson today?
Today's Lance's lesson is going to be the Japanese word for arise. And arise is okiro. Okiro is spelled O-K-I-R-O. And it's definitely relevant to today because it is our favorite thing about solo leveling because it's just so goddamn amazing. And just to play him saying it in Japanese real quick. And in English, it's...
Wakey, wakey.
We are not doing that.
Alex Lee.
Perfect. I'm keeping that. We're not doing that. All right. Perfect. We needed to throw that in there because the internet's funny.
I think just because of that whole, gag video of Alex Lee doing the different ways to say arise, he became one of my favorite voice actors.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually voted for him for the anime voice actor. Yeah.
Definitely deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Now that we had our fun with that one, Matt likes to read the manga, or in this situation, manhwa, for every episode. So is there any differences between the anime and the manhwa?
NANI?
Yes, that's the easiest way to put it. I will say most of the changes are going to be extra information. So if you don't want extra information, well, it sucks to be you, I guess.
Well, we're here for the extra information, I guess.
Season 2 starts on chapter 46 of the manhwa and ends on chapter 108. So we had almost 60 chapters for this season, or we had over 60 chapters for the season. The funeral at the end of episode 13, or I guess the start of episode 13, the middle part of episode 13, somewhere in there, yeah. That is on chapter 108, so just start on chapter 108 because there's information that you're going to want to know about in that chapter.
Okay.
Jino stops at the bank basically at the very beginning of the season, and they talk about how much money he's accumulated, and it's 1.6 billion yen in his account. And the person that is helping him tries to get him to open a VIP account. She's like, "Oh, you're a special person. Yeah, come here and get all these extra things by opening a VIP account." Yeah, he's like, no, I just need to go.
Low key.
One thing that is changed at least in the English version and in the manhwa, is Jenna makes jokes about introducing her to some of her classmates. So, that whole age of consent kind of a thing. They just skimmed over that one. It was like, yeah, we're not going to make jokes about that. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
actually, right. Yeah, I don't remember that being in the English version at all either.
No, it's not.
That was definitely the Japanese version. I swear that was in the Japanese because I remember that's really weird that she's trying. Or was that in the movie, the theatrical version?
That might have been the theatrical version, but no, it was definitely not in the dub at the very minimum.
Yeah, okay. Because I remember that's fucking weird that she's trying to hook him up with her brother. Yeah,
her classmates.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Her 25-year-old brother.
Yeah.
Jinchul and Dusong have a conversation while on their way to the gate. So if you remember, Dusong is essentially we'll call him the bad guy that lives in America, and asks about his brother, Dusong's brother, and comments how the rules inside of a dungeon are different on the outside. So basically he's saying, I'm going to fucking kill Jinho and Jinho to Jinchul.
Yep.
Those coats cost 10 gold each, so relatively inexpensive. One thing that I wish they would kind of bring up is the titles. So basically what all the titles mean that he swaps back and forth.
For himself or for his shadows?
For both. Because he is the one that gets the titles, and then like the ranks of the shadows, they don't really go into, but basically just the higher up their rank, the stronger they are. That's really, actually that does kind of play into something a little bit later that I'll get into. But the Wolf Slayer is a 40% increase in stats against beasts.
Okay.
During the Egress fight with the Ice Bear, Egress cuts off the head of the Ice Bear and then grabs it out of the air and then hands it to Jinho instead of the cutting it off and then it floating to Jinho.
Okay.
Jinho is level 52 after the Ice Bear fight. Something that is different, so as Jinho dashed towards Bakura, he actually stepped on and kicked the sword towards Kim Chul, so that when Kim Chul woke up, he would see the sword and then go attack Jinho, which is exactly what happened. The difference is Jinho doesn't have Egress like kick up a bunch of snow. He just kills him and then gets him to turn into a shadow.
Oh,
as Bakura is.
So like that distraction in the anime didn't happen? No. Okay. I kind of like that distraction idea because it's like, boom, all of a sudden I have a new shadow to attack your ass and it's a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Especially one that's a tank with something to draw aggro.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's a good change in the anime for sure. Yes.
Pronunciation. Is it Jinwoo or what am I supposed to be saying? Because I don't want to be saying some...
Jinho.
Jinho?
Like Jin.
Oh.
So basically just no W.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, how you saying what is it, Bakura?
Bakura, yeah.
I either have heard Barca or Baruka.
That might be.
For the ice elf?
Yeah.
Yeah, because right here it's got the R before the K, so that's why I'm asking.
It's probably Baruka.
Is it Baruka?
Because in the anime they call him Barca.
Okay.
Oh, I don't even remember.
Okay, Baruka. Yeah, it's Baruka. Sorry. No, yeah, Baruka.
I just wanted to make sure so that way we're on the same page so we don't sound stupid that I'm saying one way, you're saying in another.
Yep. Nope, you're good. Jinho obtained Baruka's daggers, which helps with agility and strength. Jinho's father comes out of an A-rank dungeon. Jinho and Jinho were drinking sake, not beer. So
Oh, yeah, because in the anime, it was definitely like a yellowish color as if it was
100% beer.
Yeah, so if it was sake, it would definitely be whitish.
Yeah, it was clear. It was like a clear liquid.
Interesting. I wonder why they would make that kind of a difference. It's not like it truly matters.
Probably just for imaging to make it like stand out more than it just look like an empty glass.
Well, that and it's a tiny.
Yeah,
because they were drinking like little.
Full. Well, there was that moment where Jinho poured him a full glass of beer.
Yep.
You can't do that with a glass of sake because like
that's
a shit ton.
1, 2, 3. Okay, here's your drink. Yeah, no, it's
you sip on shots of sake, not pints of it.
Yep. So after the Baruka fight, Jinho is level 61. The Demon Souls quest, Jinho gets 3 rewards, plus 20 stats, item of choosing, and a hidden reward. One thing that the manhwa does is he knows that he needs to get the elixir of life, but he doesn't have the like how to actually make it, which is what the hidden reward ends up being. So the crafting method, essentially, he knows what his reward is for beating the dungeon, but not how to actually make it.
I thought he got the recipe from that in season 1 after he beat Cerberus.
No, he got the what?
I think
I guess that was like a breakdown of what it is, but then after he does the first section, it's the actual recipe on how to craft it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so he knows he needs
like
items.
It's the difference between the knowledge of the elixir versus the recipe for the elixir, maybe.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. So then the item that he chose was a cursed item, which he got a key with no description. And then we know about the hidden reward because that is the crafting method for the elixir of life. Jinho's father said he reached out to Cha and Byung. I'm drawing a blank on how you actually say his name, but
Who's that, Min?
Yeah, the
Byung or something. It's Byung and then GYU.
Yeah. For our listeners, just describe kind of characteristics.
He is the
S-rank healer. Yes. The only S-rank healer.
The one that gets his head chopped off.
Best boy.
Yes, best boy. So Jinho's father, they talk about how he tried to bring in 2 separate S-rank hunters. One was Cha, which we knew about in season 1, and then the other one was Min.
Cha's considered a healer?
No,
just an S-rank.
It was just an S-rank that they tried to recruit.
Oh, I see.
Min is the only one in their country that's a healer.
Correct, because it's very rare to be an S-ranked healer. One thing that they don't go into is Chairman Go talks about how if you are an S-rank, you don't need a guild master card, whatever the certificate to be a guild master. You're just, all right, you want to open a guild? Cool, go for it. Don't care.
Yeah, because the whole process is just to prove yourself that you're strong enough to be able to do the dungeons and basically be worth a guild. If you're an S rank, obviously you're going to be able to clear sea gates.
Yeah, absolutely. And so he does talk about there's multiple perks for being an S rank, and that is one of those perks. After coming back from the Demon City is when Jinho decides to be reevaluated, not when he's like deciding on selling the orb. He immediately comes back and is like, yeah, I should probably get reevaluated. During the reevaluation, this is the first time that we as in readers, meet Choi, so the fire S-ranked hunter.
That's the first time?
That's the first time we meet him, yes.
Wow.
Because if you remember when we talked about season 1, that whole beginning part with him in it isn't in the manhwa. So we've never met him up to this point.
Listeners, by beginning, he means we got a preview on Jeju Island.
Yep.
Jeju.
GG Island, yes. We also don't meet Cha until the moment she walks out of the A-rank dungeon for the first time. So again, that whole instance in the beginning of season 1, none of that happens.
This is bringing back some memories. I remember you talking about how we don't know anything about the higher-ups.
Also, the pool scene doesn't happen.
Yep, that was not in the manga. That was all anime adaptation. That's the fan service.
I mean, there's other things with fan service for her, but we can talk about that in a little bit. When Jinho sees Cha for the first time, he makes a mention how she is on the same level as Chairman Go.
Really? Cha is as strong as Go?
Mm-hmm. She gives off the same aura as Go, so that is saying that they're on par.
Interesting. I was under the impression that Chairman Go was higher than all of the other S rankers.
Well, he's also, 60 years older than everybody else.
Yeah, he is technically stronger, but because of his body, he can't keep up. Mm-hmm. So him in his current 80-year-old state, well, I guess that's where Cha is now.
Right. I guess I meant as at his peak.
No, nobody's touching him at his peak.
Okay, that's kind of what I took it as.
Jinho will eventually.
Okay, so him at his 80-year-old self is putting off what Cha is putting off at her 20-something self.
Correct.
Okay.
Jinho meets his cousin for lunch. Basically, Jinho complains that he can't reach Jinho, and I'm not going to go into his cousin. She's pointless to talk about. She's just a normal person. Everyone on the mining team is either a D rank or an E rank. One kind of small difference, they don't really go into it, is during the second strike team, there are 17 hunters on that strike team. 11 are A and 6 are B. There's just more. They don't know about it, but
this is the raid that Jinho is the backpacker for?
Correct.
Okay, I think they made a small comment about everybody's ranks, especially the A ranker who was trying to lead everybody.
Correct.
I do have a slight memory of them talking about how many there were, but specifically, I don't think they went that much depth.
I could have very easily missed it.
Yeah, they broke down how many there was of each, and he said that he was surprised for a second strike team they were that strong as a second strike team.
Right. Yeah.
Which cousin were you talking about? That he had lunch
Rich
with?
Boy?
Yeah, Jinho's cousin. So
are you talking about Suyun?
No, she's a human. It is...
Suyun is not a human. She's a hunter.
She an E-ranked hunter? Or
no,
hunters aren't
she
humans?
is not. She comes in
later.
Yeah,
yeah, it's Su Young. That's.
I was gonna say she's an A-rank hunter, and she isn't just not important. She's also a mega celebrity in the show.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, I'm not going to talk about her because she
does not come up at all in season 2, but does come up in the manhwa a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
For our listeners, Tyler has also read the manhwa.
Yes. Thank you for calling me out on that one because I was like, I don't think she's important, but apparently she is kind of important.
Next season, she will be important.
Yeah. So the hunter that talks about how he can summon 2 separate entities, essentially. In the anime, he summoned 2 right away. But in the manhwa, he only summons 1 and basically says if he had to summon his second one, he'd be useless.
Trying to think back to it. What did he summon? I'm not even... so much was happening.
They're basically like Jinwoo's shadow soldiers, but they're fire. They're just basically fire soldiers. Like fire and like summons.
Okay. They look kind of like knights.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Very similar.
So much happens. It was probably just easy to miss.
And it was very quick because he summoned them. They go in, and then they die to a high arc.
Okay.
They didn't last very long.
Correct.
It's the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, that we see someone else with a summon.
No,
like
his. That is, yeah.
Okay.
Because that is also going into the very first time that they see his summons, and it blows the dude's mind.
Yeah.
What? I couldn't do this. Yeah, that's exactly what that is. So during that whole invasion type thing, there were 22 high orcs. Not really super precedent, but just so you know, there were quite a few of them.
In the arena for the entertainment? Okay.
No.
Oh, for the first high orc wave. Okay.
And then domain of the monarch skill. So basically when he releases a giant shadow, it allows for his shadow soldiers to get a 50% increase when they're over that shadow.
Oh, yeah, they did make a comment of that.
Okay.
They gave him a boost.
Yeah.
I caught that on my second watch. I was like, oh, I totally missed that.
Yep.
Definitely cool.
One thing that I wish they would do is the shadows have a personality.
Mm-hmm.
So all the shadows have personalities like Iron, Tank, Egress. All of them have kind of quirky personalities, and you don't get any of that in the anime.
You do. Very little. Because I'm sorry, Tank has the best funny scenes through the entire, or not Tank, Iron has the best funny scenes through it. Because he's over here just beating Baruka into the ground, and he's like, "Can you stop?"
And none of that was in the manhwa?
No,
that was in the manhwa, but
you're defending what the anime did.
Yeah, in the anime, you see a little bit from Egress. In that situation, Egress looks at him and just walks away. He's like, "You're stupid."
No,
but that's the only time you see Egress give a little bit of attitude towards anything. But Iron does have a couple moments through season 2 of showing those quirky sides of just him as his summon.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a moment where Iron actually saved Tank, and then the next panel, he's just giving him a thumbs up, and Tank's has his paw up thanks.
I was literally thinking about that today, and I was like, I know at some point I could not see it in the anime at all. I watched it all today, and I was like, I do not remember, but I remember Iron just going. I was like, what part was that? But I couldn't remember it.
Yeah, that was during the orc fight, in the big
big arena.
Big arena, yep. So at that point, Jinno could cast 127 shadows. One thing they do talk about, but I just want to kind of reiterate, is everybody knows that Min Song is a womanizer. Everybody knows he is essentially a shitty person.
Is that the upcoming A-rank celebrity?
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. Also, that is Jinho's brother.
Oh, so that's
Min Sung is?
Yep.
That's the other person that wants to take over.
Interesting. The guild? Well, because like I said, I've read the manhwa. It's been a little bit.
Yep.
But it's never mentioned in the anime.
So it kind of is, but only if you know what he's referencing. So when he is threatening the chairman, Wu Jinchul.
Oh yeah, and he said that I can have your job.
Yeah, he says I can have you removed or something along those lines.
Yep.
It's because he makes mention in the manhwa that my father donates a lot of money to the association and can have you fired.
Okay. As an anime watcher, I was like, dude, you're talking to an S rank. Is he an S rank?
No, he's A.
Jinchul is an A. He's a high A rank.
I was going to say, either way, I knew he was strong.
Yep.
Actually, yeah, it doesn't make sense. You never really see him fight. So yeah, he's not.
Well, he says he's an A rank.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that part. I knew he was high up there, but you're not gonna talk down someone who's already high up.
Yep.
Yeah, even in season 1, after Jinwoo killed Kang, right?
The
Kang Tashik.
Yeah, the piece of shit.
He when Jin Chul's coming over to talk to him, he says, well, he's a high A rank.
Yep.
That he wouldn't stand a chance against them.
Yeah,
because he thought he was going to get found out. So that's when Jin Chul's rank was first announced.
Correct. But so Jinho is the younger brother of Min Sung.
So is there 3 brothers?
No, that's his only brother. That's his only real brother.
There's no way. Because in the anime, that he says that his brother isn't a hunter.
His brother's 10 years older. Technically, at the time of that conversation, he's not a hunter.
He was an actor.
He's an actor.
So, but he's got to have another brother then, because in the manhwa, I could be completely stupid. His brother is going around and trying to recruit people, and it's not the same person. I'm going to look it up because I feel like that might be wrong.
Okay.
Quick Google search.
Yeah, his brother is Yu Jing Sung. So they're not related at all.
Okay. Well, just kidding then. I got some things.
I'll fact check you here and there.
I got things confused apparently. That's I appreciate it, Tyler.
I got you. I'm going to get kicked off this podcast.
Oh no, it's better you saying this before listeners be like, that you're fucking wrong. And then
I'm not watching this. You guys don't know your shit.
Yeah.
How dare you say you know things when you don't?
Your Lance's lesson should be watch the fucking show.
All right, so the rewards for part 2 of the tower, I guess you want to call it. It was said the highest quality runestone, plus 30 stats, and then a hidden reward. The runestone turned into Shadow Exchange. They talk about how the cooldown time can be reduced with experience and use. Basically, the better he'll get better at it, is what it's talking about.
Oh, cool.
The hidden reward is the Demon Hunter title, but he hasn't met the requirements to use the title. If you read very closely, it does talk about the Demon Hunter title in the list of rewards that he gets. I watched that this morning. I was like, oh shit, it does talk about that. Yeah, it's there.
It's very quick.
Yes, insanely quick. You have to be looking for
the
it.
amount of times in this anime that I've had to pause it to read the screens, because there will be so many that pop up and they just disappear instantly.
Correct. Jinho was level 81 when he restarted the dungeon. Dong So knows Jinho is an S rank and is alive. The dagger Jinho is holding in the auction house was 30 million. The regular ants have enough intelligence to attack mages first, which is something that doesn't get talked about. Dong So offered his services for the Jeju Island raid, and a second American hunter also went and talked to the chairman, which we kind of do know about in the end of episode 25. So this happens before the Jeju Island raid, though, that this American goes and talks to chairman. Go.
Is this what the anime showed about the All Might blonde-looking dude?
Yes.
Okay.
And he offers his services and basically was like, but you have to pay me to do it. And they're like, no.
Typical American.
Yeah, and they want too much money because at the end of the day, if he's going to help a foreign enemy, it's got to be worth it.
Yeah, something that they talk about, which I'm pretty sure is in here, but something that they talk about is about national level heroes, which are heroes that have completed a S-ranked dungeon, which the American hero is one of them. They're the Chinese guy we see at the end of episode 25 who wipes out all of the ants and was like, if I got to fight the black one, it would have been more fun. He is also one of them, so he is a super strong / well-known hunter.
Interesting.
There are 3 total.
3 total people who have completed S ranks.
Correct.
So now I totally am blanking on these S rank.
They don't talk about that.
Oh, okay, good. I was just saying. Well, with that being said, I cannot wait to find out what the hell S rank
So they're considered national level heroes or hunters, excuse me.
Right. So how often does an S rank?
Not very. Very rare. Gate, very rare.
Interesting. So would that mean like
Jeju Island was an S.
Okay, great.
Yep. So technically, all of Jinho would be is considered a national hunter, by beating the Jeju Island.
Okay. Literally single-handedly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was going to say something, but I was like, I think that might be a spoiler, but I don't really think it is. What China's ranks are for the guy that we see at the very end when he slashes all the ants out
he's
of the
a
sky.
national one.
But they don't rank. They do, but they're not S rank, A rank.
Yeah, they're a different. Well, we'll just leave that for season 3 because they'll talk about that in season 3. Egress and Tank were promoted due to reaching their max ranks during the dungeon, tower climb, elite night, and night. So this is actually where Tank gets his name. So Tank is not named up until this point.
Oh, I guess so.
Yep, because it shows them hitting those levels, but it doesn't show them naming him.
Yep. So, right here. They talk about national level S ranks. To be considered this, you have to clear an S rank dungeon. The conversation with Essel's father happened while they were eating. This is Koto Ryuji's goal. Oh, so Ryuji's goal is to be considered a national level hero, basically boost up Japan's strength by having a super important hero. Because once you become one of those, you can be considered a hunter for hire, and you can, like, nobody's really going to question you if you get hired for your services.
Which one is Ryuji?
That's Koto. So he is, sorry, not Koto. Goto.
Oh, the asshole, the Japanese asshole.
Yeah, he was the guild leader.
Yes. So his goal, so the whole reason why Japan agreed to do this or came forth willing to do this was for Goto's goal to be a national level hero.
Oh, okay. That makes a whole lot more sense.
Jino was level 97 after defeating Baron, and he got a handful of items from Baron. So he got Baron's ring, longsword, 2 daggers, 2 horns, and blood, which we knew about. Then the doctors wanted to keep Jino's mother, but heard who her son was, and they're like, yeah, we're going to release her now. So Keel, the Japanese hunter who has like the gas mask on his face, he is similar to Cha, who gets sick from hunters' smells. And basically he was thinking like, oh, Cha must be the same way. How do I talk to her without trying to like make it seem like I'm hitting on her?
Oh, interesting. Even though they would speak different languages?
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
The translator and Park Jung-soo, so the guild master for the Knights Guild, spar after he hears her talking trash to the Korean hunters the Japanese hunters, because he speaks Japanese. So that guild master and her have a sparring match, and this is where they talk about how the only way to lose is to grab the wrist. And then the second sparring match is with all the S-ranked hunters. And this is when the other stipulations come into play, because they believe that they want to make it, I guess, a little bit easier to lose, because if they don't, people go a little too far.
Someone's going to die.
Yes. Jung-soo won the match between the 2 A ranks. People were complaining that this little spar didn't happen in the anime. It would have lasted like 15, 30 seconds. Nobody wanted to see that. The only people that wanted to see that are the people that read the manga.
Who are the fighters to describe to the listeners?
So it's the translator, the Japanese translator. She is an A rank. And then Park Jung-soo, who is the one that goes to the translator as, hey, I know what you're saying. I speak Japanese, or I know some Japanese. Well, after that conversation, they basically have a dispute, and they're like, fine, let's duke it out and see who's better. And the Korean guildmaster won the spar, and then the S-ranked hunters were like, all right, now it's our turn. So it's just the pre-match before the big S-ranked match.
Okay.
Jinho located an office space for their guild prior to the Jeju Island raid. So this happened prior to everything. And that is when Jinho gave Jino a letter from someone who speaks English. We'll find out who that is in season 3. There is a 10-second delay between the feed and what's going on at the Jeju Island. I just wanted to bring that up again.
10 second? I thought it was like
the anime said it was 10 minutes.
Yeah, in the I mean, this might be a translation thing, but in the manhwa, they say 10 seconds.
Okay.
The other goal that Japan had was they were hoping that all of the Korean hunters would die.
Ooh, bastards.
Yeah.
That was kind of brought to sight near the end of the fights.
Yes.
On the island. It just wasn't talked about as in depth as it was in the manhwa.
Yeah, no, they literally said, we're hoping all of the Korean S-rank hunters die in this battle or something along those lines. It was said straightforward. Yeah, it was very like, this is what we want. Okay. Like, oof. One thing that is kind of interesting is Jinno needed 3 tries to raise Min, yeah.
The healer?
Yeah. He needed 3 attempts.
Oh, I'm pretty sure the anime was instant.
It was completely instant.
Yeah, the anime was instant. The first 2 attempts in the manhwa, he just tried flat out. And then the third one, he kind of like gave like a little bit of a speech to it.
Kind of like the Icarus deal?
Yeah, kind of.
In a way, yeah. And there's more that we'll probably find out in the 3rd season about exactly why it took that 3rd try.
Okay.
I know what I wrote. Trying to remember exactly what I mean because I said there's a conversation that will happen. Oh, okay. So before or in chapter 108, there is a conversation that happens with Jinno with some group of people that will happen in season 3. It is a huge oh fuck moment. You probably know exactly what I'm talking about, Tyler. So when Jinno was thinking of what to name Biru, he was thinking of the author who wrote the book called The Ants by Bernard Weber.
Okay.
Yep. Sure. Yep. One thing that isn't brought up in the anime is Jinno actually arised the ant queen, but all the ants started trying to follow the queen. And so he realized that, you know, she was useless because really the only thing she's made for is to produce more ants. And she's dead. She can't produce more ants. So
interesting.
He realized how much she's not a fighter. So she was just kind of a dead space in his inventory of shadows.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. It's stupid information, but like Correct. At the same time, like, yeah, I really appreciate the thought process.
Yes. As a reader, you're like, oh, cool. Yeah, that's good. As an anime watcher, you'd be like, cool, thanks. I don't care. There were 8,700 ants to begin the whole raid. After everything happened, there were 4K left over. And then the very end of episode 25, where the second red gate happens, that doesn't happen. Yeah, that second red gate doesn't happen. So where he goes and fights some monkeys or apes, whatever they are.
Was this in the final episode?
Yes, the very end of the final episode, where he gets stuck in traffic, and then he gets a call and it was like, oh, there's a gate. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and he's like,
yep, now it's coming back. I didn't watch the last episode for a second time. So yeah, now this is bringing back memories.
Yeah, then all the women's favorite part where he kind of like undoes his necktie and he looks all menacing and stuff.
Yeah. For our listeners, we're recording this before the final episode has been dubbed. So I didn't get a chance to watch the final episode for a second time.
Also, one difference that you missed is in the manhwa, Jinnu's and Goto's fight is a lot longer.
Yeah.
They cut out a lot of it.
Yes.
You wouldn't say a lot. They cut out, I think, a decent chunk of it.
Yeah, it was much shorter. I don't really go into lengths of fights too much when it comes to anime, just because some of them are super long compared to other. Because like the Biru fight is actually significantly shorter in the manhwa than it is in the anime. So it's just kind of
because in the manhwa and the anime, when Jinnu grabs his hand instead of his wrist, he says the same thing. If I grabbed your wrist, it was over, and we know we don't want this to end. Then they split. In the manhwa, they come back together and keep fighting. In the anime, they start coming at each other and they end it.
They are split up in the same manner, but it's after more intense fighting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the main difference. Like, there's more fighting. Nothing like more like damaging blows or anything. It's still, it's just got the cut on his cheek, stuff like that. But they stopped him after that. They were like, if we don't, someone's dying.
Okay.
Yep.
Which is kind of in reverse. Usually you'd imagine that the anime would prolong fight scenes.
I want to say it has to do with where that episode ended. They probably had a certain point they wanted to get to and needed to get to that point.
Yeah, it was probably based off the pacing of the episode.
Yeah.
That they probably like, oh, well, we don't really need this because it doesn't progress anything. It's just more action. Yeah. So they probably trimmed it up there to where they get the basis of the fight.
Yeah. I mean, as a viewer, we got the idea. It was good the way it was, but it is interesting to know that more fighting was there.
Yep. One thing I really loved was the scaling that they did in the manhwa. So like the arena was two full pages when he rose all of his shadows against the ants. That was 2 full pages. Like just the scaling that they did was fantastic.
When you say scaling, you mean like the size of the panels? Like it was literally like
2 full pages.
It took 2 full pages just to show how big the high orc army was, and then how big Junu's shadow army was.
Okay. Like that's pretty cool.
It like normally you'll get it in one little frame. This one had to take up 2 just to show the scale, the size of the arena, and the size of both sides armies.
Okay.
And if you remember, when you read a manhwa, you're scrolling down instead of scrolling like left to right. So that's the other thing, is that, you know, you've got 2 lengths of page versus, you know, if you were to say, if this was a manga instead of a manhwa, it probably would have been 4 pages, because it would have been open page, here's one section, open page, here's another section kind of thing.
Well, yeah, so they put like 2 little posters in there.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It was so cool. And that's it. That's all I got.
Awesome. Great details.
For the most part, this was just extra information that the anime either didn't give you or very easily missed.
Mm-hmm. I know in our last episode for season 1, I listened to the light novel version of this.
Yep.
And I had a couple of bits of extra information that both other media sources didn't add.
Yep.
And now I kind of regret not listening to it, because I wonder what I could have added.
That's the one thing that I saw like within the community, is all 3 of them have things that the other ones didn't.
Right.
And it kind of like what we were talking about before. I won't get into it because it's irrelevant to this, but like one touches on it, the other one doesn't.
Yep.
So I'm interested to see if the anime, which adaptation they're going, if they're going to go towards the light novel side or if they're going to go towards the manga side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, great.
Let's take a break, and then we'll get into the heart of the conversation.
Everything else.
The heart of the conversation.
Hey everyone, Lance here, trying to promote our new podcast, DnD Noobz, that we have started, and we would really appreciate it if you guys would go and give us a listen anywhere you find podcasts, where Matt and a couple other friends of ours join in on my shenanigans, and we play through a post-apocalyptic world where we fight some bad priests and try to save the world. So I hope we can see you guys there. Again, that's DnD Noobz, that's Noobz. And now we'll get back to our program. And welcome back from our break. Now let's get into some general anime talk. Do you guys just want to straight up talk about who your favorite character is in this season?
Sure. Yeah, we can do that. Tyler, since you're the guest, I'll give you first go.
Obviously, everybody's answer is going to be Juno. You can't just not love them. Correct. But obviously, since that's everyone's answer, Iron. I'm sorry. The comical moments with Iron and just like...
Oh, that's 100% what I was going to say, too.
One, he's badass. Yep. Like, what fight was it where he just... I think it was the... I'm trying to remember, because I watched it at work today, and I'm trying to remember the fight. I think it was against the ants. He literally just called them forward, cut it in half with no problem. Or no, it was the orcs. He just spawned and just cut an orc in half.
Yep.
And that's not even one of his strongest shadows.
Right.
And they had A ranks and B ranks that were struggling to take them down in pairs.
Yep.
Like, and then just all the funny good boy moments. Like,
yeah.
Just pounding Baruka into the ground after he's already dead. And then when Jinho is complaining about not being able to help, and he's over here with just a handful of crystals just staring at him.
Yeah, that was such a sweet moment.
Here you go. Here's your help.
Well, he didn't hand them over. That was one of the regular soldiers that handed it over. He was just standing with an armful of crystals just staring at him. But mine's got to be Iron. Like, just to stay away from the obvious answer, Iron just kind of like gave that comedic relief and like after tense situations and just made it better.
100%.
True.
Yeah. As soon as Matt and I saw the first theatrical release of the first couple episodes, and when Iron was going to town on the Ice Elves, busted out laughing, instantly became like a new fan favorite for myself. It's like he had a quirky personality like what we were talking about earlier, and this is something I definitely wanted to bring up because I agree with you. That alone made me love Iron.
Yes.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, like his other shadows are awesome. Like Egress, obviously. Like Egress is straight up goated. Like he is super loyal. And even Juno even said like during one of the fights that if he would have held his sword the entire time, he would have lost.
Yeah, that was
against the Ice Bears.
Oh yeah, I like that he made that comment too.
Yeah, because that was when he was fighting the Alpha Ice Bear that he made that comment.
Yep. Yeah, and that's still relatively new with him receiving Egress too.
That is brand new because that's the first fight that he used the Egress after he got him.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that was like 2 weeks later.
Yes. So back to backtrack a little bit, the differences in the manhwa.
Yep.
The game also bases off the manhwa. Another big difference is when the Orb of Avarice, he tested all his soldiers with Orb of Avarice. In the anime, he gave it right to Tusk.
Right.
But in going through the Demon Castle, he tried it with the Sorcerers. Yep. He tried it with Tank. He tried it with Iron. Like, he gave it to everyone to see who could benefit from it the most. And then he got Tusk and he gave it to Tusk.
Interesting. Okay.
So in the manhwa, he only gives it to his...
I think that might be more light novel.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because they had to get it from somewhere.
Yep. Maybe.
Or they could have just filled it in themselves. That's the one nice thing is there's a light novel, there's a manhwa, there's the anime, and now they have the game based out on it.
Yep. And the game does a very good job of the story following along with the story of the manhwa. So
yep. I just figured I'd throw that in there because they had like their own little moments in the game with it, and I thought I don't think it was in the manhwa.
No, it wasn't.
But I feel like they had to have pulled it from somewhere.
Yep. The mages for sure. He did give it to them.
Yep. Because it turned their fireball blue.
Yep.
When they first shot it, and then Tusk just had it.
Yeah. Yeah, he gave it to Tusk during the
80th floor.
Yes. And was like, oh.
Which on top of that was a badass moment when he's like, all right, Tusk, and he just drops it and he comes out of the ground and just grabs it.
Okay. Yep. All right. Now that you're saying that's exactly what I was going to say. After you taking Iron, I was going to say Tusk would be my next favorite. It's because of that scene where he just casually summons and captures the orb and then just fucking obliterates everything.
Yep.
Tusk is an amazing guy. The battle to obtain Tusk was also super fun to watch, and I really...
As long as you watched it in Japanese.
Oh, I mean, they're both
good. The voice kind of threw me off in English a little bit.
Yeah, that's a conversation I want to have specifically, but continue.
Okay. So he's just the next badass in my point of view.
Okay.
And what brought another bit of information or another moment of comedy into Tusk was when Jinu summoned Tusk's like secondary guys. He's like, I thought there was 4 of you, and then he had a and then he had a flashback about how he jammed one of them up into the ceiling.
Yeah,
and then
that's because one of the hierarchs just pointed straight up. He's like, oh yeah.
So that was super freaking funny. So yeah, it sucks that Jinu couldn't get the 4th guy, but
that's because he forgot about him.
Yeah,
he forgot about him. He had to make a point out of him. He stuck him in the ceiling. He's like, up.
Yeah. So that was super good. Is there any left for you, Matt?
I love Cha's personalities.
Okay, Cha's, she's super awesome.
You like the additions. Yeah, because I know you didn't read the manhwa, so you can clearly cut this out.
No, we could talk about it.
That's fine. The difference between her and the manhwa is they fan service the shit out of her in the anime.
Okay.
At least, so they enlarged her chest like double.
Yes, they enlarged her chest in double. The pool scene in the anime was not in the manhwa.
Right. Correct.
That was not in there. And they just basically made her... There's not... Don't get me wrong. She doesn't have a lot of fan service. Like there's nothing really showing. It's just... They made her more noticeable.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that was like the one like difference which I
did they also show slight, I don't want to say embarrassment, but like
the personality stuff is there in the manhwa. The biggest difference is when she's laying on her bed, and there is a distinct difference in her chest size between the manhwa and then the anime.
Okay.
And yeah, no, it's that one's just, I saw it. I saw somebody making mention. Some people are complaining because everybody loves to complain about stuff. And
it's 2025. That's just natural these days.
And then after my second read through, I was like, oh, yep, nope. Her chest is much smaller in the manhwa, which whatever. If that's the worst.
To be honest, like I didn't even notice it after reading it and watching it until like I was scrolling on Facebook and an anime page popped up and it showed both, and I was like, oh damn, I didn't even catch that. Because like I said, it's not sexualized.
No, it's
not.
Right.
Because, and I mean, the pool scene is literally the only quote unquote fan service, and she's wearing like a full one-piece suit. Yeah. And it's not like she's got a bunch of cleavage hanging out or anything.
Right. No, like everything's covered, but they made it noticeable.
Yes.
Like that whole scene was literally added for that.
Yep.
So Cha was good. I really like her kind of story arc. They do make mention how strong she is, which is really cool. And then just her attack on the ant was really cool. Really enjoyed that.
Her attack on the queen gave me Levi vibes. Fair. In a way. Like that's like when I first saw that, I was like, okay. I'm like, she's just ripping through that queen and literally made like light work of her. I get it, she had help and everything, but like just seeing her demonstrate her power.
Yep.
Especially when we haven't really seen a whole lot of her until that fight. It's just insane. Like obviously we saw that she like during the sparring, she's quick, very fast reactions. And a lot of other people, I mean, they thought Beck was the weaker link of the two. Mm-hmm. And he's been in S rank for a lot longer than her, considering she was the 8th.
She was
S
the
rank.
9th, yeah. She was the last one.
Oh, yeah. Jinu was 10th. So, yeah, she was the 9th S rank, and that was 2 years prior.
Yep. One of my favorite moments, back to the dueling. Well, first of all, like her acrobatics and talking about like the dancer of the Japanese, like that was all fun to watch. Yep. But then when like the masked guy who went berserk, like she was like running away, and then like she instinctively like bitch slapped the fuck out of him out of like instinct. It was super funny.
It was not a bitch slap. No, she turned around and hit him about 15 times in the face, like instantly.
I was saying that to be funny, but yeah, he totally
basically like she could have just turned around and just gave him a little slap around, but it was like instant. Like the instant she felt he was near, turn around, just hit him.
Yep.
So yeah, you know, you didn't leave me with too many characters to pick from. So
no, but I'm glad we talked about this because Cha is definitely amazing.
She's a good character, and season 3 she'll be more important. So
also another difference, very very minor. I'm remembering as I'm going. So remember in the anime when he gets Kaiso and he's flying to the hospital.
Yep.
In the manhwa they mentioned, hey, you cannot be doing that because people see it.
Right. I thought about that right away.
In the anime, it was never mentioned, but in the manhwa, it was mentioned that Go literally said you cannot be doing that because people see it.
Yep. I thought about that too. Like,
it was in the
there's
news.
no way nobody's going to see a giant fucking dragon.
It was in the news of just a giant dragon flying through the sky. And
they were like, is this a new monster? And nothing else happened from it.
Yeah, because he made a comment like, oh, this will be much faster. Like, you sure this isn't going to be talked about? Or
yeah, anime it wasn't in the. I mean, maybe it might pop up,
maybe.
But I doubt it. Considering compared to the Jeju Island, I think that happened like a week prior because that was before his mom woke up, and I'm pretty sure the conversation.
Yeah, that was on his way to the hospital.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the conversation in the manhwa happened like the next morning.
Yeah. One thing I want to make mention is that basically American hunters are in Korea. And they pretty much gloss over that, except for Thomas
Andre.
Yeah. So they do make mention of Thomas Andre being in America, but there is more outside people, we can put it that way, that are in Korea in the area.
Obviously outside of Dong-soo, because he's also there. Obviously, you can see that right away in the first episode that he's going to kill Jin.
Yep. Okay. So let's talk about the voice actor for Tusk, the dub voice actor for Tusk. This is a conversation that needs to happen. I know we don't normally like to talk bad about voice actors, but I was not a fan of Tusk's voice acting. He was very hard to understand. I want to say he's a Spanish musician that did the dub for both the Spanish dub and then the English dub. And I'm not saying he did, I just didn't
It didn't fit his character style. He's supposed to be menacing and all this, and then you just have a Spanish, like a Spaniard accent. It just didn't fit the kind of aura and how terrifying he was before he was killed.
Correct. And just to bring everyone back, this was during the orc fight. This is who Tusk
when he was Carglegon.
Right.
Yep.
Or as Jinwoo says, Gargle.
Gargle.
I love
Full name Tusk.
I love how he can never remember names.
Yeah, Essel. Poor Essel. And that's all I want to really bring up is the fact that I did not like the voice or the dubbed Gargle because I already have a hard enough time hearing, and then it just was very hard to understand what he was saying. And of all the voice acting that happened in the show, this was like a step down.
Okay, interesting. I definitely picked up on that. He had a little bit of an accent, and he had a little bit of an echo behind him because he's a bad guy.
Yep.
So that was cool and all, but I guess I would have to hear him side by side in order to truly feel
You mean the
Japanese and the dub.
The sub versus the dub. Yeah.
So speaking of him having the echo, one of my favorite moments from the show when it comes to just speaking lines was when Ki-hoon was on the ground bleeding and Jinwoo saves him when Carglegon is using his gravity acceleration, and he pulls him out of the air and he's like, I know this is your raid, but do I have the right to kill him? And as he's talking, you get the mix of his shadow voice and his normal voice, and it just sounds so intimidating when he said it. I don't know if you guys caught that at all in the anime.
No, I didn't.
Oh, I don't know.
I can go find it because you can hear him talking and then you just get a whole different tone of voice when he speaks. And it changed that whole moment. I think I rewound it and watched just that part 4 times.
Okay, nice.
I got to find it.
All right.
You guys talk.
And you're talking about the English version of it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's in the English sub. I don't know if I caught it watching sub. I don't know if it was in there during sub, but dub, it was in there.
Okay.
Do I have your permission to kill every beast in here?
Because it just takes that serious moment and just makes it so much more intimidating. Because while he's saying it, his eyes are just blue.
Mm-hmm.
I
love when his eyes go blue.
And it's not the blue, his eyes just get lightly blue when he's using his powers. It was the Baru fight, just ice blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it just, it made that moment so much more serious because that's when he just goes, all right, time to fuck shit up. And that's the first time anybody has seen his shadows outside of the 3 that were with him in the Red Gate.
Right. And, everybody gets to see his shadows at that point.
Yeah, that was the first time. And all those guys, they kept their mouths shut. So I know they don't comment on we're keeping things politically on the down low about this guy who's fucking amazing and all of his abilities. So you gotta give that crew some props. Even though the crew that he went in there and everybody watched his abilities. And
you mean the 3? Yeah, no, actually they do talk about it. It gets talked about.
You're talking about the 3 in the Red Gate, right?
Yeah.
So in the manhwa, do you think that'll be season 3, or was that supposed to already happen?
That wasn't a Red Gate.
No, the very beginning where they went in against the Ice Elves. Is that the 3 you're talking about?
Oh, I was talking about this battle right here.
Oh, that's because the surveillance team told them they have to keep their mouths shut for him saving them. But actually, the guy during the Red Gate, because you know how it was the B, the E, and then there was a C. He wasn't really talked about, but there was a guy there with him. It was the guy that, not Iron, it's his actual alive name.
Chul.
Just the shitty A-rank guy that was...
Yeah, the guy who turns into Iron.
Was it Kim Chul?
Yeah, Kim Chul.
Kim, yeah.
Yep. So Kim Chul, it's the guy that Kim Chul shoves to the ground and says no.
Yeah.
He actually ends up going to Jinho's father and talking to him about it. That's how Jinho's dad found out that Jinwoo was the one in the Red Gate.
Okay.
It's because he went and talked to him about it.
Yep.
Okay.
That was another one that was mentioned in the manhwa, but was not in the anime.
Okay.
So it was a conversation prior to Jinho's father and him having the conversation about Jinho being the guild master.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want, because it left off and I said, speaking of the echo, and then I explained it, showed the clip, and then it'd be basically you to respond to it.
Yeah, that sounds pretty badass.
Yeah, it's just, I think I watched it like 3-4 times over. It's just, it made that moment for Jinho so much more impactful. And it basically led into that he's about to whoop some ass. Because like he has full rage built behind those words and how deep and how menacing they sounded. And it's insane. Yeah. I loved it.
I loved the idea that like he was humble enough to ask for permission and then just fucking let loose.
Speaking of him being humbled, at the very end of the fight, because Jinchul, right? He's the head of surveillance. I feel like I'm...
Yes.
Yeah, Wu Jinchul shows up, and I don't know if the manhwa caught it. I can't remember, because it's a split second, but in the anime, you can hear Jinwoo go, oh shit, because he didn't realize he was there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because he's like, oh shit. He's like, Jinchul.
I was like, too focused on fighting to realize that there was actually...
Yep, and it was just like he went from serious and then was like, oh shit. And then he was like... A kid, he was about to get yelled at. He's like, oh.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a quick LOL moment.
So that does happen in the manhwa. One thing that the manhwa does is instead of, for a lot of the funny moments, is they'll just get like these huge, just black eyes and just kind of chibi face kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how they portray the non-serious moments, is just having those kind of faces. And that's what happens when he sees Jim Chul. He's like, oh no, I got too immersed in this fight.
Yep.
Everybody saw this.
To backtrack a quick second, talking about like Jinwoo's blue eyes and stuff like that.
Yes.
I can't really like say this for certain, but like I feel like most of the time when you have like a blue aura versus a red aura, the red aura kind of feels like it's the hero, like that's the guy we're rooting for. But like Jinwoo's got the blue aura, you're really rooting for him, and it gives. I guess the reason I'm saying this is because I have a new bias towards like ice types, and it feels like this coldness coming from, and I really want to see ice types be taking a new lead versus like fire or something like that. Like I think ice is super awesome, so I really like this blue that they're taking with him.
Yeah I did not take it that way, but
no.
And they like emphasize it a lot within his aura.
Yeah.
Like I'm surprised with him being like controller of shadows, and it wasn't purple. He had it with and he had the purple in his domain, but like I almost felt like his aura would have been purple, especially with the black aesthetic that he usually is.
Fair. Yes. Speaking of color we can call it color palettes.
Yeah.
I was not a huge fan of the way Biru was introduced.
Okay.
I showed you the manhwa version. He was just more sinister and dark paleted. It's all an art style, how the anime is compared to how the manhwa was. That really is what creates this difference. The art palette for Biru when he first showed up he was a lot of like light blue gray style. So he was just very muddled compared to in the manhwa where he was very dark, hard lines, very sinister looking. Not saying he wasn't sinister looking in the anime, but just his body wasn't as menacing in the anime as it was in the manhwa.
Yeah, the anime just had him in a little bit brighter colors.
Correct.
Like it just doesn't throw off the same appeal. Like if like it in the anime, it goes from his lighter tone with Baru, and then it shows Tusk, who's just jet black.
Yep.
Like if they could have matched into the same kind of color palette, like the color tone, it would have been so much more intimidating. Especially when they're getting ready to fight and all the ants split.
Yep.
And he's walking in, if all you see is just red eyes, the entire like walk through that dark tunnel.
Well, you could see a lot of distinguishing features in the manhwa, so you didn't have to make him that dark, but he was just way too muted when he first shows up.
Just dull.
Yeah.
It would have been a little bit more interesting if they made him a darker color when he like digivolved into his attack form, like with his long ass claws. Like if they would have given him a darker palette there, it would have made him a little bit better.
So dark Frieza kind of.
Yeah.
It kind of gave me vibes when he like transformed into more of an offensive mode.
Right.
It kind of reminded me of Pokemon with Deoxys, where he's got just two different modes. Like I was like, he slimmed up, he got thin, his claws got longer, and he like even though he got faster, he was still intimidated by Jinwoo's speed.
Yeah.
Like, Jinwoo's speed, he's like, he's just as fast and getting faster.
Yep. Yeah, I like that they made that comment too. Oh, also in the midst of battle, Jinwoo was just sitting there like max leveling his like disembodiment or whatever it was called.
Mutilation.
There it is. That was pretty awesome. Like, he's in the moment, like he is in a fuck you mode and he is ready to just fuck this guy up so hardcore that he needs to just spend his stats in order to fuck him up specifically.
Correct. And it was especially like when he was like taunting him in a way where like Baru's on the ground trying to crawl away and he's just walking at him.
Yep.
He's staring at him. He's like, I can end you in any moment, but I'm going to let you think you can flee for your life. And then I'm just going to fuck you up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I loved the like telekinesis grab thing that he did like twice during that battle.
Yeah.
I love telekinesis abilities. So I'm super happy that they did something like that here. And I love it. I mean, he did it a couple other times during the season and stuff, but during this battle alone.
Like, yeah, with his commander's authority, because everyone's like, oh, like, what is he going to do against him? And he literally grabs the whole, like, his whole like body and just brings Baru down to his knees.
Yep.
The first thing he does when they get into like their interaction, and it's like, you had S-rank hunters out there that were getting their head chopped off within half a second and couldn't do anything. And Jinwoo's over here embarrassing the shit out of him, bringing him to his knees, and took a full power hit to the face and didn't even move. Didn't block it, nothing. Just took it on the cheek.
Yeah. Took the first hit, made everybody in the back think like, oh shit, he was way over his head. But like, no, he was still standing proud. Like, okay, now this is
like
a fight.
He taunted me. He's like, that's it. Like it's just the taunts, like how just cocky he was, but he backed everything up in that fight.
Yep. Definitely.
Do we all agree this was our favorite fight?
Oh yeah, by far. That was a great fight. They did a great job. Animation was great.
It was very good. I loved everything about it. The Baran fight, was probably easily my second. Kargelgan was good. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yep.
Like I said with the Echo and like being able to see his plethora of abilities that Kargelgan had. I love dragons. The wyverns are very close, and then just like the use of it, like the lightning that the Baran had was insane.
Yep.
Absolutely. And the fact that when in that fight, Jinwoo calls out Iron and Igris at the same time, and all you see is Iron. He taunts, Baran breaks it. It gets a little bit of a distraction for Jinwoo to get up. And then Igris comes out of fucking nowhere and cuts Kaisel's head off.
Yep.
And then just completely brought him down, because that's when Jinwoo was actually going to clip Kaisel's wings to bring him down. Correct. And then Igris just says, you're fucking dead anyways.
Yeah.
I think that was close for me. It was a very big fight because he didn't have the potential backup.
Yeah, I like the fact.
Yeah, it did get intense because the lightning attack was a very real threat.
Yep, because even in the game, when you fight him in the game, it's an instant kill ability.
Okay.
So, and that's kind of how it was in the show. Like, if it hit him, he was done.
Yeah, and basically it took a slip of his attention away from what he was doing to finally be defeated.
Yep.
And yeah, I really like that because it was the first real moment, you could say, because the Baruka fight, he kind of didn't struggle as much as he did in this one.
Right.
And so it was the first real actual struggle he had.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
And it was like, it was a real struggle because when he used that lightning ability, it wipes out all his soldiers.
Yep.
And drained his mana.
Yep.
He had nothing left. So it was one-on-one. You have no backup. Mm-hmm. You're going in on this just one-on-one. You fuck up, you're fucked. Like, you have no backup. Because Essa wasn't going to do shit. She's over here traumatized in the corner because she doesn't know whether to be helping Baran or whether to be helping Jinwoo.
Yep.
Like, it even said that in the anime. She doesn't know who to help because one's the Demon King and the other one's just some random person in here terrorizing the tower.
Yep.
Yeah, that one was very good.
And that fight kind of to me had more meaning for him because he knew that fight meant his mother's life as well.
Correct.
Yeah, the whole tower deal is all about his mother.
Exactly. Like, that is the only reason he is in that tower is for his mother. So I just felt like in that fight, he had more passion. Like, don't get me wrong. The fight against Baru was to save the friend, save everybody there from getting murdered, and possibly like everybody. Because I mean, if Baru got out, nobody's stopping him. Maybe until they got to America. I mean, with Thomas Andre, it would be different. Or but it's got to go. It's got but it's got to go through everybody else first.
All of Korea would have been fucked. All of Japan would have been fucked. So China would have been it.
Yeah. Back to the towers.
Yes.
We stopped at level 90, right?
No, 100.
We did. That was 100?
Baran is 100. Yep.
Yeah,
he was the top floor. He was the
Demon King.
I don't know why I thought that was only 90.
They passed over 90 even in the manhwa. They didn't really touch on it.
Yeah.
They kind of went like, all right, here's this floor. Like it kind of showed little jumps of each floor. But basically when he picked up Essel, that was on the 80th floor.
Right.
Once they got to the 90th, that's where she's like, well, we can use these to bribe them because they're the high elder families. But we never saw any of the fights. It was basically 90 to 100. Like, you didn't get to see any of the other floors.
I kind of, at that rate, I guess I assumed that was 90.
It just completely jumped. Okay. It went from 89 to 100, realistically, for floors.
Okay. Yep. Because I was going to say, like, if we got the Elixir of Life at level 90, what is the last 10 levels going to be? And is Jinwoo even going to want to go back? Because that could be a whole other storyline. But it's nothing anyway.
They do make mention how there's still parts of components left to make more. But the only thing is he didn't have any more demon blood to make more.
I don't think it was demon blood. Was it demon blood? I thought it was the water, the life water.
Well, that's the blood.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So you needed the blood. You needed
the piece of the world tree from Vulcan, and then no, the life water was from Metis, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the demon blood was the one that got used. All of it got used. The stick. It was a chunk of a tree and then the water was still around. So if he wanted to make more, he had the possibility. The other thing that we should make mention is that he currently has 4 uses left after attempting to save Cha and then saving his mother.
I don't think he has more chance in the future to ever do it. Because if you remember when he left the gate in the anime, it said the gate is closing. So it closed that dungeon.
Yeah, but they're demons. He could go to a demon realm and get more if he wanted to.
True, but
he has
already dead.
He has no reason to.
No,
but
you have fucking
you guys
6
are talking about
of
the 100
them.
floors?
Yeah.
What's that?
You guys are talking about the 100 floors?
Yes.
Yeah.
In the tower.
Okay. I only want to bring this up because you said demon realm.
Yeah, because Essel, if you remember during the anime, he's like, well, what are you waiting for? And that's when she started glitching out.
Yep. This is what I want to bring up.
And she said, well, we came from the demon realm. There was war. Well, that whole tower is from the demon world.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And they all got pulled in. And once he killed Baran and he was leaving, that's when it said the dungeon will now close as he was leaving it, because he completed it. He killed the boss. It's going to close. He's done with that key now. I have a feeling it closed and they reverted back to where they should be.
He does have another key.
He does. I know what the key is.
Yeah.
Just anime wise, it has not spoiled anything yet.
Correct.
It is still question marks. Well, it's not question marks when he's fighting Baru because he's already level 100 by Baru. But he doesn't pull out the key until season 3.
Right. So
we don't know what the key does, but he does have a key to something.
Right. So now that you guys have all said everything that I was gonna start asking questions for, and you no, it was perfect because you answered almost everything except now kind of like the punchline question was, what's this key for? And it's making me wonder if it's a key for the demon realm.
It's so he can marry Essel. What are you talking about?
Yeah, because they definitely have somewhat of a connection, and she wanted
to confess herself.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know you guys know what's going on in the future. Up until, I mean, we can only ask, what did you think in this point in time? What were your initial thoughts? My initial thought right now is that this is a key to the demon realm or to another realm of origin to where why are things glitching? I guess that's the bigger question. Why are things glitching? When things are being asked specifically,
that'll get explained.
Why is there censoring? Yeah.
That'll get explained.
It gets explained. When I initially was reading the manhwa, I had no clue what the key was for because obviously in the manhwa it showed the question marks and everything as well. I didn't really know where it was going to, but it goes somewhere important.
Right.
Come on, Essel's bedroom door.
called a sex chamber.
Well, her father already thinks that, they're doing stuff. So
Yeah, right.
that was another funny moment. Do you think that the Baru fight will be like fight of the year kind of thing? Do you think it was that good?
I kind of feel like there's going to be too much bias
Okay.
to make sure that it's the fight of the year.
Okay.
A lot of people are probably going to back it up that it's only the fight of the year because of how hyped Solo Leveling was.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There is a lot of animes coming out this year that could probably give it a run for its money.
Fair.
It's just...
I mean, we have a lot of time for it to prove so.
Exactly. So, I mean, it sucks that it came out like this early in the year because it's got to hold that title for the rest of the year. But I have a feeling it's going to stay top 5. Easily top 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the year.
I'll give you that one at least.
Yeah. And I'm only saying the bias part because this show is just so hype as it is.
I feel like some of the hype has been lost compared to the beginning, like before it came out.
Oh,
At least the hype, I'm concerned.
Oh, the original hype for Solo Leveling was god tier.
Unattainable.
Yeah. And they definitely
It's good. It's
proved
very
it.
good.
They definitely
I mean, they
did well.
literally the opening episode for season 2 is the most liked episode on Crunchyroll history.
Yep.
Off release date.
It crashed their servers.
It crashed the servers when it released. Like, it was hyped and it lived up to the hype. I believe it did very well doing it.
Definitely.
Yes.
It's going to be, I don't know if that fight single-handedly will win fight of the year, but I have a feeling the anime has a very good chance to win anime of the year.
Yeah.
No.
No?
Fragrance 100% going to win.
That's where it comes down to bias, is because some people have some preferences. Some people, it's going to be up there. I've never seen Freyren, so I'm going to take Solo Leveling every day.
It's no Freyren.
French fry. You want?
For people who can't see what I'm doing, I am pointing to the poster above my head, to the Freyren figure that's literally sitting behind Tyler over there.
Again, bias.
I watched 95% of the shows that were on that list, and yeah, it was definitely my favorite. But Solo Leveling was easily probably 2. Compare. It was easily 2. It was so good. This season was fantastic. I loved it. I watched this entire season in a 24-hour period.
Yeah, that's kind of how it was for me. Like, I rewatched all of it besides the last episode because I didn't have a chance to because today was busy.
Yeah.
But I literally binge watched, I think, from episode 15 to 24 at work today. I didn't get nothing done. I have more important stuff to do.
For Tyler's boss, he did work today, but that was just on the side.
Oh no, she already knows I don't work. We literally talked about Black Clover for a half hour.
Nice.
I kind of agree with you. I think it'll be very hard. Bleach Core 4 is coming out this year. The fights that are going to happen in that one are going to be absolutely epic. It's going to be very hard to keep the throne, but right now it definitely has the throne for the fight of the year.
And it's going to hold it for a while.
I can see that.
It's just, like I said, there's so many big animes coming out this year, like different seasons, that it's going to be hard to hold it.
Correct.
But it has a good chance to do it.
I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It's too soon to say, and I would hate to have an absolute.
We don't talk in absolutes. Never.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing I do have to say is they did such a good job on like all the episodes leaving on a cliffhanger. Like season 1 left some episodes kind of like, why did you end right there? Season 2, no, not even a little bit. Like all the episodes, like, are you fucking serious? This is where we ended.
Why do you think the most hated thing in every episode was fucking Jinwoo's feet? Like every time it'd be like him walking in the cutscene, and everyone was like, "Fuck!" Like it's because it always left on such a part where it's like we need more, and then it's just over.
Yep. Cha's about to die and feet. You're like, oh my fucking God.
Totally agree. Yeah, definitely binge worthy because you need to know what happens next.
Correct. Yeah, that I will say the director who did that, absolutely fantastic.
He's a dick. That's what he is. Good, because it kept people coming back for the next week, but he's a dick.
Correct. 100% binge worthy because every ending of the episode led into the beginning of the next episode, and then when you were watching it weekly, you're like, fuck, what just happened? Is she gonna die? I remember reaching out to my coworker and I was like, so you think she's dead yet? And the response was, I hope not. I'm like, I guess we'll find out next week.
No, we can't be losing anybody. Actually, speaking of which, did Japan lose any S ranks?
Japan lost. Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, they did.
Sorry.
Japan lost.
I forgot our heroes aren't in Japan. We're talking about our Korean. Did our Korean heroes lose any? Okay.
I mean, technically,
they lost Min.
Yeah,
but he was retired. So they didn't lose anybody that was active, but they did lose one where Japan lost 6.
7.
They have 11, right?
No, they have
11 total.
Me?
They have 11 total because they have more than Korea. So they lost 7 because 3 were on the boat and 1 stayed home.
Correct.
Okay.
Which was the dickhole that wanted everybody to die in Korea so that way they could
that
clear
dude
the
was
island. Yes, he was the one S rank that stayed behind.
Okay.
Because he was the co-leader of the guild, if I remember.
I don't remember what his title is.
I believe he was the co-leader.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Oh, I just assumed he was just some political guy calling the shots. But I mean, he did have very emotional input into his guys getting wiped out and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, emotional. Yeah. Speaking of
he's mad.
Min, right?
Healer boy, best boy,
as Lance likes to call him. I thought that was a very impactful moment for Jinnu to revive him and then Min immediately go heal Cha. I thought, I didn't cry during any of this, but I was like, oh man, that's kind of emotional right there.
Yeah, it's because they said it was in his nature because Jinnu didn't even need to give him the command. He just went and did it.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Instantly.
Yep.
And then after he healed her, obviously she stayed unconscious because that's extreme fatigue from the damage and from the fighting.
And not dying.
And this was the first time we saw Jinnu towards, I wouldn't say another hunter, but towards another male hunter to show compassion. Because he listened to Beck and understood that he is a non-combat person and doesn't like war and fighting and honored his wishes and Min's wishes to release him. They just had to use him in that situation because that's the only option they had.
Yep.
Which is also totally on board with the emotional side of all this, but at the same time, fuck, Jinnu just lost an amazing healer.
It would have probably been one of his top shadows.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Not combat based, but the fact that you can heal anything.
Yeah, you can just sit in the background and just constantly heal Jinnu during any fight. And you can just stay at 100% health at all times. He's already overpowered as it is.
And get buffed.
Yeah.
And
who knows what other buffs he can do as a shadow.
Yeah. I did find it interesting that they get nerfed.
The shadows?
Yeah. Jinnu talks about how he said one of the lines was, I expected him to be nerfed, but not like this when it came to Tusk.
Yeah, because it nerfed his power a little bit compared to what he used to be because he doesn't use as many spells.
Oh, yep. I see what you guys are doing.
But it was also, I think he was also referring to the attitude.
Maybe.
It was a lot of it was that his attitude got nerfed because he wasn't as big of a condescending asshole.
Right. You mean a complete douchebag?
Exactly. But they are a little weaker in shadow form than they are in their real life.
So it's like unlocking a character after beating the boss. You're like,
correct.
He's not as.
But you also got to look at this. Unlike the real life where they can't get stronger, the shadows can.
Right. So they have a potential.
They kind of, yeah, because when he gets Baru didn't really get nerfed. Baru kind of is going to probably stay about as strong as he already is because he came in as an elite knight?
No, he general.
Yeah, he comes in as a general. Cargogon came in as an elite knight.
Correct.
Because that's what Igris ends up going to as an elite knight to be on the same par as Tusk.
Correct.
So does that mean
because
the Ant is now stronger than Igris?
Biru is the strongest. Yes.
Interesting. Oh, poor Igris. We got so much love for him at the end of season 1.
Igris is he is one of the best ones for his tactician and just his experience in fighting. Mm. Not necessarily because he's actually the strongest.
Yeah, because if you look at it, Baru's is just head on. He's headstrong. Mm-hmm. Where Igris is like Jinnu. They have the same fighting style mentality.
Yep.
That it pairs better with him in fights than it does with Baru.
Yeah.
I will say this without giving anything away. everything within Egress's personality gets explained.
Okay.
And it all makes sense. You're like, oh, okay, now I get it. I'm really looking forward to, I think that's season 5, or sorry, season 4.
Yeah, it's going to be near the end.
Everything with Egress gets explained.
Yeah. Listeners, we were talking prior to this, and we were pretty much thinking that this is going to be a 4-season series as far as regular solo leveling is concerned.
It just kind of depends on how long they want to drag out
parts of
the end.
Yep.
If they want to really drag it out and kind of milk it, I can see maybe about 5 seasons.
I still think, because we have 100 chapters left, I still think it'll only be 4, because
it just depends on how much they want to slow it down. Because there's a lot that still needs to happen.
Who knows? Maybe season 4 could be a 24-episode core.
It could.
That sounded very northern of you. Oh, it could.
Oh, it could there.
I would think they would do season 3 as 24 episodes, or maybe like 28 episodes.
Okay.
And just elongate some things. But what they might do is make because basically everything's been 13 episodes.
Yeah.
So maybe 13 episodes for season 3, and then 15 episodes for season 4.
I can see season 4 being a longer one, because that's going to be
it's the conclusion of the series.
Everything.
Yeah.
There's just so much that needs to be explained that's going to happen in that final season.
Yeah. I'm just going to say right now, we had already talked about this. People are going to be upset with season 4 because the majority of the action is going to happen in season 3.
Yeah.
The real heart of what's going on is going to happen next. And then...
Is he okay?
My dog's dying over here.
Loki scared the shit out of me. I did not know there was a dog down here.
We got demons coming.
I thought Lance was over here rubbing his foot on cardboard or something.
Is this normal?
It's inverse sneezing.
Oh, sorry. With the echoey things. I'm familiar with inverse sneezing. Yeah, he's got some snot up there. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I heard with that, you just got to plug their nose or rub their throat. That's the 2 things I've noticed that kind of happen, because plugging their nose stops their airflow, which kind of stops it from happening.
So after the demon was summoned in my basement, the season 4 is probably going to be people's least favorite season, because of the events that take on at the end of the season are not going to be, I can't say that. It's just not going to be what people are wanting. Season 3 is going to be all the action. Basically, everything happens.
If season 4 was what we were talking about upstairs, I feel like season 3 is going to be longer then, because there is a lot that needs to be explained and come out.
I feel like they're going to do a majority of the explaining, and then the beginning of season 4 is going to be the rest of it. Stuff's going to happen. Conclusion of solo leveling. For any of our listeners that don't know, the manhwa continued as a new series called Solo Leveling Ragnarok. It is a prequel to Solo Leveling. Basically, they call all of Solo Leveling an epilogue.
Ooh, pinpoint.
Yes.
Totally forgot to even bring this up during our main conversation.
Okay.
Jinwoo's dad.
Correct. Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's talk about him. Yes, he's alive.
Okay, so now that you're all saying this and prequel, blah, 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 obviously prequel stuff, we need to learn about Jinwoo's dad. So
yes, that gets explained.
This is making me wonder, is the prequel going to focus primarily on his dad?
So, sorry, sequel, not prequel.
Oh, sequel. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, well then obviously in the next 2 seasons we need to learn about his dad.
Yes, that'll get explained.
We learn a lot about a lot of things.
Everything gets explained.
Literally, there's going to be things that you're going to learn about people that you have already seen that you have no clue. Trust me, there is a lot coming up that you're going to learn. We've seen a little bit of Jinwoo's dad and his power. He literally embarrassed Dong-soo like it was nothing. They even said in the anime, the fight was over before it began.
Yep.
He literally just destroyed him. And actually, did they focus on in the anime of him being beast or human by helping other people in the image?
They did in the manhwa. About how they couldn't tell the difference whether he was.
So yes, that is
a difference.
Yes.
So in the anime, it shows Dong-soo against the building, knocked out, damaged, and then his dad's just gone. In the manhwa, they question if he's human or not, because after he beats Dong Su, it actually shows panels of him helping people trapped in the rubble to get out that he caused.
Okay.
And it was him saving pedestrians and other people before disappearing.
Right.
Jinu's father.
Yeah. Right. And I like the comment that he made, like, even giving me a DNA test, like, I will prove that I'm human.
Yes.
Which brings into question about the whole system leveling thing that Jinu's going under. Like, is there a connection? I mean, I know I'm trying to talk fast so you guys don't cut in, but, like, I'm dying to know the connection between Jinu's dad and Jinu and the system.
There's a connection outside of obviously father and son, but it's going to be explained, and it's a lot to take in.
I feel like the end of season 3 he'll explain it. I think
it explains.
If I have to get a fucking answer about his dad at the end of season 3,
it's going to probably explain it about mid, because that happens before the bigger stuff happens.
Fair. Okay.
I can't really say exactly what I mean without spoiling anything.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, you two know, and the listeners who've read the manhwa know.
Because I can tell you right now, there is spoilers that if you knew what comes up, you would notice it. There is something about Jinwoo. He has said we have heard that literally leads into the future seasons.
Okay.
Yet basically everything gets explained. I want to say everything gets explained in season 3.
That's why I feel like season 3 is going to be longer, is because there's more to explain. You got to remember, we have Thomas Andre that we still have to encounter. He's got his own stuff. Dong Su's still got to come up. There's more interactions that still have yet to happen outside of the big parts.
Yeah, we need to learn about America. You've already brought up China. We need to learn about the outside countries.
America is going to play a key factor in the beginning of season 1.
I have a feeling season 3. That is how the first couple episodes are going to be focused on America.
Yeah, we're going to get introduced to a character that we have yet to meet in the beginning of season 3. It'll be very interesting what happens. I'm trying to talk about this without giving anything away. I can say, like I said, everything gets explained. The 2 people that we see at the end of season 2 are important. We could say that much.
I'm trying to remember the end. Who do we see at the end of season 2? That's China's.
No, you see, I want to say an elf and like this.
Oh, yes, in the cave. Okay,
yes,
I remember now. Yes, they are important. And again, that is leading into more about Jinu and his father. It's
/ future events.
It's all tied into everything. They are relevant. I can't.
We can't talk about it.
It's not a huge spoiler, but trust me, if I say this thing, it's going to lead into everything.
Okay. Yep. It all gets explained. That's all I can keep saying. That's about the best way I can put it. Everything gets explained.
I can already tell you what the word for season 3 is going to be. I can't tell you because, again, spoiler, but I already know what the word should be.
All right. Well, when we get to that episode, definitely tell me what my Japanese word is going to be.
Perfect.
Got you.
With all that being said, with how fucking crazy solo leveling is and how the community already knows solo leveling is overpowered, Ragnarok being a sequel, I can't imagine things getting even more intense afterwards. It just blows my mind.
I haven't seen anything on Ragnarok, so I have no clue how
it can keep up with the hype.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, because I stopped reading the manhwa because I got a little bored. But as Matt told me, no, don't. Keep reading.
Correct.
Oh, man.
So we've gone through the Red Gate.
Yep.
I could have swore there was a difference when Beck and Dong Su went at it outside of the Red Gate.
Not really.
Back to the beginning of season 2.
Not worth talking about.
But also, one of the things that also can demonstrate the power of Jinchul is he was able to stop them. Yes, he said he was able to because they held back, but he was able to get in the middle of them and stop them, and he wasn't afraid to as an A rank.
Yeah.
Against 2 S ranks. Also, 1 day in a Red Gate is 1 hour in real life.
Yep, they made mention of that a couple times.
One thing, in case anybody didn't notice, the wyvern, that is not a demon. That is why he was able to summon / bring it with him, was because it's not a demon, it's a dragon.
Okay. This was going to be a question I was going to ask earlier, because it seemed like he wasn't able to arise anybody within the 100 floors.
No demons. They make mention of that.
He didn't have access over the demons because, I'm assuming, because of Baran.
I'm going to guess because the system didn't want him to.
If the system didn't want him to, then he wouldn't have been able to get Kaisel either.
But they're demons, not necessarily.
True, but then it's probably I'm gonna go with it's because they're demons, and he's not a demon, so he can't.
That's fair.
Demons are demons. Breed.
Yeah, it's true. They're also not in gates.
This is making me question now. Is there going to be a whole additional level like we have with what's the chick's name? Essel. Like she's got her whole own world, like an isekai.
Correct.
So wait, no, she is part of the demons.
Yeah, she's
from the demon
so
world.
I can't even say what I was going to say.
No, what were you saying? What were you thinking? Let's go. Go down that rabbit hole.
Run it.
Well, I thought there was a parting point between Essel and the rest of the demons, but
I mean, kind of.
So like
they're higher up. They're like elite demons.
Right. But I was gonna say I thought they were two separate worlds.
No,
and like they came together, and now they're in this whole new world under the 100 floors, and they had to co-live under the 100 floors.
Not quite.
Did it explain what the importance of the demon tower was? That's later, right? That'll come up in season 3. Okay, I didn't want to bring it up just in case, because I was like, later. I know that they brought it up, but I didn't know if it was still while he was there or if it was after the fact.
No, the whole reason for the demon tower was the elixir life.
And that's purely system based.
But there's more info about the demon tower and what it resembles.
Yeah, there's significance to it, but we don't know about it yet.
Interesting.
Like I said, right now we've gotten fights with some info. Next is a lot of info.
And a lot of fights. So this is something we haven't talked about. I love the pacing. I loved the pacing. I like the fact that it goes from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. No 1, 1.5, 1 3/4, 2. 2.1, 2.5.
Yeah, we don't have filler. We don't have to worry about like being bored halfway through an episode. Like, oh, finally it gets good. Like, I'm watching the shit when I'm on the treadmill. If I come up to a slow fucking scene, I'm walking because I'm not pumped up for anything. Yep. I'm pumped up the entire fucking episode.
Yep.
Like, it has its slow moments, but they're like with his mother, but it's such an emotional moment.
Okay, that's like comparably that's a low moment, but it was a good moment.
It's a very good moment.
It's emotional
because actually, like, a lot of people were upset with that episode, and they're like, "Then you're not here for the story. Like, you're just here for the action." Like, that is the whole reason this anime is a thing. Is because that is the whole purpose. He became a hunter for his mother.
Exactly.
And the fact that he's still pursuing it is showing now that he got stronger. He wants to do this. Now he's doing it for the world.
Yeah. Yeah. He even made a comment like, I'm here to be with my mom.
Yep.
Oh, fuck. The world's about to get fucked up. I guess I'll go help. And then he just goes and saves the world.
I guess I'll say this is the last thing we need to talk about. The delay between when Jino goes and saves everybody and then when Biru is just fucking everybody up. I know people are like, well, why is there a delay? Why was he not there as soon as Biru started fucking shit up? Mm-hmm. Discuss.
Yeah, that's because from when Baru's...
All right, drop the bomb.
That's because from when Baru started fucking shit up to when Juno got there was like 3 minutes.
If that.
Because when the barrier broke, they're like, this barrier shouldn't have broke for a while. And then in the very beginning, they said that barrier only lasted an hour.
Yeah, and then they took about 30 minutes to get to the queen. They probably took 5 minutes to kill the queen.
Yeah, we got to remember as watchers, everything's happening at fast pace in real time.
Yes.
Like, everything happened from when Baru showed up, like from when the net broke to when Jinu got there was literally maybe minutes, if that.
Maybe.
Because he would have probably been there sooner if Baru didn't kill everybody so fast. Because as soon as they died, they lost their shadow, and he lost that soldier. Because he's like, that's why I couldn't get in contact with the shadow with Goto, because Goto just died. Like he was.
The shadow gets brought back to Jino.
Yeah, it's just he's no longer with them, so he would have been there faster. But Baru was just that quick. He just didn't give him time to react because Jinu is not going to know. I got to go now because Baru wasn't a threat at the time. Nobody knew about him.
Right.
All they knew was there was a giant egg that hatched.
Mm-hmm. But even then, so he puts shadows on 5 of the people. Yeah, the people get fucked up, but they're not dead. So not really the end of the world. Once they're in mortal danger, and Goto is dead. That is when Jino arrives.
The 5 that he was talking about was 5 of Japan's.
Correct. And
they're not of Korea's. Korea already he had one on all of them.
Oh yeah, that's
because you got to remember he had 6 soldiers pop up, and there were 6 of them there.
Yeah.
The only one he wasn't able to get one to is Min because he never met Min before.
Correct.
Yeah.
But the 5 that he was referencing was Japan's S ranks that he was able to get shadows onto.
Correct.
Yeah. And plus, in retrospect, you'd imagine with so many S rankers being on an island, you should be able to have a little bit of ease of mind.
Yeah, he's not going to go in. He's going to expect some damage.
He wasn't expecting deaths.
Yeah, what Biru did was beyond what he thought was going to be, because he even makes mention how, there's 7 S rank, 6 S ranks, and everyone from Japan.
There was 16 total S ranks, and he's like, they'll be fine. I'm gonna be with my mother.
Yeah.
And then when shit went to hell, he's like, all right, I'm stepping out real quick, and then he's here, and then Aura Moment just walked from behind everybody.
Exchange, and then it's the episode, and you're like, fuck, not again.
Feet.
Yeah, so awesome. And they had to have given the cooldown time for that added all the drama and made everything make perfect sense.
Yeah, because now he can't go back and forth.
Right, he can't be too overpowering.
Well, that and he doesn't want to be in everybody's business.
That Baru fight lasted longer than we thought.
Not really.
Because it did. Because what did he say at the end? I have an hour and a half left still. It has a 3-hour cooldown.
Mm-hmm. That was not an hour-long fight.
It had to have been because his cooldown is 3 hours, and he said, I have an hour and a half. I cannot. He couldn't exchange back to get Cha back in time.
Cool. Matt's going to fact check.
It was at the end of episode 24.
I'm going to the source. I'm
going to the manhwa.
The thing that tells me how long it's been.
At least in the anime, I could have swore they said that he has an hour and a half left still.
I do remember him given a time. I don't remember what the time was.
Oh yeah, the whole helicopter thing doesn't happen either. Like as they're leaving.
Really?
Yeah.
This is our last hope.
Oh, maybe he didn't mention time for the shadow exchange.
I know he said he didn't have enough time for it to recharge.
Oh, he just says I can't use it because of the cooldown time.
Yeah.
I could have swore he said an hour and a half, but then again, I'm fucking partially stupid.
No, that's fair, because I was right on board with you. Like, it did bring a reminder in there that he did obviously make mention because Matt just played it, but yeah.
Okay, that is the last thing that we have as far as solo leveling is concerned, because I was right. They didn't make mention about how much time it is, and we can move on. That's okay. I will be the bigger man, and we can move on.
I rate it 10 out of 10.
100%. No, not 10 out of 10. But.
I mean, personally, it filled everything for me, but then again, I'm an action-based anime watcher.
No, totally agree. To be
a 10 is no, but...
If every end of the episode makes you craving for the next episode, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, no, I totally understand your thought process, because it's also kind of an asshole thing to say there's no such thing as a 10 out of 10.
That is true. No, fine. I'll give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah. Well,
does that make you happy, Matthew?
Yeah, I would also rate this 9 out of 10 for sure. It's easy 9 out of 10.
It's easy. I want to wait until more of it's out before I put it in my top 5. But it's up there probably in my top 10 favorite animes.
Yeah, I agree.
Give you that one.
What about you, Matt?
I would give this season as a whole definitely a 9. It's so good. You had the highs and the lows as far as emotional range is concerned. The animation was fantastic. There was nothing that I would really complain about. Sure, you can get some nitpicky stuff. Absolutely fantastic. Not anime of the year, though.
No?
No.
Like I said, it's going to be hard, but I have a feeling it has a chance.
No, that's okay. You could be wrong, but it's okay.
You could be wrong too, bitch.
Before we go, Lantz has been generous enough to give us a Pokemon quiz for a while, and that streak is continuing. So let's see if Lantz can continue to stump me, and maybe Tyler will actually be able to help me.
I'll do my best. If it's old gen, I have a better chance. New gen, good luck.
It's all old gen. Maybe, hopefully.
All right, today we're going to jump into Gen 2 material.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. I don't know how I did on this one, so I guess we'll see. I think I did make it easier in the end for sure. But
Sure.
I guess we'll see.
I don't believe you.
Question number 1. What typing is Whooper?
Whooper is ground.
Is it water ground?
Is he dual typing? Because if so, he's water ground, but I'm almost certain.
I'm not going to give you guys...
Yeah,
I know he's ground for sure.
I'm going to go with water and ground.
All right. The correct answer is water ground.
Okay, I knew he was ground for sure, but I wasn't sure if he was dual typing or not.
Yeah, I knew he was dual typing because I remember Gen 2 was all about dual typing everything.
Fuck Quake Sirens, minimize bullshit.
Yeah, I remember having a Mareep, and that was the first electric Pokemon you can get, and I was using Thundershock on a Whooper, and I was fucking pissed that it didn't work out because I didn't realize he was a ground type.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Okay. Question 2. How do you obtain a Slowking?
Oh, we kind of talked about this not that long ago. I don't remember, but we talked about this not that long ago.
I know it's a Slowpoke, and he needs an item. It's King's Rock.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Slowpoke with a King's Rock.
And then there's a certain...
No, that's it. I think that's all you need.
No, there's more to it. It's King's Rock, and then there's one more stipulation that needs to go to get him to evolve. And I can't remember what it is. He got to be at the top of your party?
I'm going to let you... I'm not going to answer questions.
Okay. King's Rock, top of your party.
Okay.
I'm just going King's Rock.
I know King's Rock is needed, but I believe there's another stipulation.
Okay. I'm going to give you the overall... Yes, you're both correct.
Cool.
It is the Slowpoke with the King's Rock. The stipulation is you have to trade them.
Oh, okay.
The top of the party thing, that sounds like maybe generation 4 or 5 plus. Those are pretty crazy when they get the evolutions there.
But I remember with Slowpoke to Slowking, it's the King's Rock.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are good on that one. All right.
2 for 2.
Yeah.
Way to go. Way to go us.
Okay, so I didn't make this one too hard. Question number 3. I tried to make this one a little bit easier. Ready? The evolution question. What level does Chikorita evolve at?
16.
No. Chikorita is one of the earlier ones. Is it 15? 15.
It wouldn't be an odd number like that.
All right. So 16, 15. Correct answer.
I feel like it's fucking 14.
Is 16.
Damn. I could have sworn it was because Chikorita is one of the earlier ones.
Chikorita's the base one.
It's base. You don't get weird ones.
No, yeah. With the 15 being weird, I'll give you that one. But I'm pretty sure, without looking into this, I'm pretty sure Cyndaquil is 14, Chikorita's 16, and Totodil's 18. Quick Google search.
Yeah, 16, 14, 18.
Great. All right.
I knew they were different. I knew they were different. It's just for some reason 15 just kind of felt right. But I knew all 3 of them were not the same.
Right. Yeah, that was definitely the curveball for all of them. But yeah, as far as 15, that might go for just, the odd
random Pokemon.
Yeah. Like I think in our last episode that we had Sentret evolves at 15.
Yep. I just saw that one on there.
Oh,
so that was Sentret.
Yep. And yeah, that's my question. Matt, that makes you 3 for 3 for once.
Woo! First time.
100%.
I think I have a total of 1 point because I had 2 questions half correct.
Yeah, I'll give you the second one for sure for being
with the
Slowpoke and the King's Rock. That's all I was honestly looking for, but I did put it in my notes that you do need to trade them as well.
So I was right on King's Rock and another stipulation.
Yeah.
I had the stipulation wrong.
A little too complicated there for at least Gen 2 material.
That's weird. You need to trade them. I don't remember that one.
I never really cared for Slowking, so I never used them.
They were all relatively dumb. Yeah. Until you came to Kingdra, he was really
Kingdra,
the only good
Gengar and
Well, and then with like Gen 2 with the
but those are like really the only ones you ever really cared about trading.
Did you have to trade Seadra to get Kingdra?
Yeah, and it needed a shell scale or no?
King's Rock.
Was it a King's Rock?
No, Dragon Scale.
Dragon Scale, that's what it was. It needed the Dragon Scale and then trade.
Yep. Same thing with all the metal coats.
First, the Onyx, the Steelix.
Yep, those were all traders.
Oh, okay.
And then you got Funky in Gen 3 with Umbreon and Embryon where you needed to evolve them at night or at day.
Oh, that was Gen 2.
Was that Gen 2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Gen 2.
So there was other stipulations than that because I know like to get Umbreon it's at night and then...
Which was on our last Pokemon quiz.
Yep. Yeah, that was a previous question I had. But yeah, those are my questions.
First 100%. Thank you, Tyler. I appreciate it.
You're welcome for the assist.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to us this far. Please make sure to check out the Anime Show on Facebook and Instagram. Also, please subscribe to us, drop a like, and leave a comment on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Have a good one.
Later, guys.